Yeah, I think one of the problems we have as African entrepreneurs is that we expect early recognition for what we do. You do something and you've done it for like a month, and you think, oh, I should be all over the newspapers. It's not like that. We need to spend a little bit more time, working through things.
Welcome to Africa's Diamonds podcast, Domination. I am so glad you guys could join us for this podcast. We've got a treat for you, as I always say. My name is Sal Edo. I'm one of the co-hosts here. Salem is out of commission today. He's busy with some other stuff and couldn't make the podcast, but nonetheless, we're bringing this to you. And I want to set this up. Before I introduce our guest today, I want to set this up for you. Now, if you have ever been to Africa, if you live in Africa right now, you know there's a problem of pollution. I went to Ghana. I'm originally from Ghana. I visited a couple of years ago, and there's just lagoons, like pools, bodies of water full of plastic containers. They're just sitting there. And if you're like me, you've wondered, man, I wish we could get someone in there to clean that stuff up. I wish we could start a way to recycle, maybe to stop the waste, to stop the pollution. Well, our founder today, Domination, is somebody who didn't just think it, they did something about it. And I have with me Bilikiss Abiola, who is founder of Wecyclers. Wecyclers essentially has made recycling possible, and not just possible, but exciting for West Africa and possibly all of Africa. So, Bilikiss, thank you so much for taking time to talk to us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Oh man, we're more excited than you are. I can guarantee you that. We're gonna dive into this. So tell us, what is Wecyclers?
WeCyclers is a social enterprise that was founded as, like what you said, the need to do something about the waste problem that we have in Africa and in other developing countries. And it's basically twofold. It's to clean up communities and to empower people with their waste. And in Africa, I'm from Nigeria. Nigeria is a country of 170 million people. About 70% of Nigerians live in poverty. And one of the big things that affects them is lack of access to basic sanitation and waste management. And we saw that at Recyclers that a lot of people living in low-income communities really, really suffered from poor waste management. And we wanted to help them to, empower themselves with their waste.
Yeah, that's interesting. You brought it up that way because another part that you do, which you just talked about, is really empowering people with jobs, right? And when we were talking and did some research as well, you guys are employing people who would not otherwise have jobs.
Yes, absolutely. We have people that, are employees. We employ about 50 people, and some of them didn't have any jobs before they came to work with us. But also in the communities that we work in, the people that we collect waste from, recyclers is kind of an extra income for them,
Hmm.
and they are able to be, to get something back from disposing of this waste and not letting it be a nuisance.
Right. So there's economic empowerment and there's saving the continent, frankly. And you guys are doing this incredibly. Now, when we think about waste, when I think about it, I'm sure some Diamond Nation fans are thinking about this. I mean, give us an idea of your background because I think it's going to shock people when they realize where you came from to tackle this big problem that doesn't seem that big to an African audience, but it's a pretty huge international problem. Give us your background.
Absolutely. So I was born and bred in Lagos, Nigeria. I left Lagos when I was about 17 to study. I went to school at Fisk University. I studied computer science, then got my master's in computer science from Vanderbilt. Then decided to work for about 5 years. I worked at IBM and then wanted to do something different. And so I went to MIT to get my MBA. And it was while I was getting my MBA that my eyes were open. You said something really important. You said that African people are not aware. And for
Hmm.
me, before moving to America, the trash problem was a nuisance, but I didn't really think it was a big deal.
Right.
And it was actually just being in school at MIT and just having that extra information to see that this is something that happens it's a common recurring theme in all developing countries. And it's a problem that we all need to tackle and really face. And it's the problem of waste management.
So, I don't know, Domination, if you caught that. All right, you have an MIT grad, an IBM alum, tackling waste. Now, Bilikiss, I know it's a big problem. I know it's something your eyes got open to when you're at MIT. But why not do something else and then, fund someone else's waste recycling business? Why take it on yourself? I mean, you have a resume that a lot of people are dying and working really hard to try to get right now, and they're not thinking about going into waste management.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I have two children, and I was in one of the communities that we were doing like a sort of a survey of if people would want a service like Wecyclers, what is their experience with their waste in their neighborhoods. And we were talking to this young boy that was about the same age as my children. And, what he said whenever he thinks about waste, he feels really sad. And I just thought, I was like, why will this young child have to have such an intense feeling? And he said it was because people in his compound, because several families live in a compound. People in his compound will fight over the trash. Somebody will dump it and not want to take it away. And people, it's just for him that kind of resonated, and it stuck with him, and it was always a negative thing. So I wanted to do something around that and see how we can. And I think the second thing for me was that made me personally want to do this was I'm an Afro. I don't know what the word is. I'm Afrocentric. I love I love Nigeria. I lived in America for about 14 years, and I never got I never got a green card. I never got an American passport.
What?
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. So, and it's like not because I mean, of course, if they had given me one, I would have taken it. I didn't go out of my way. I mean, I was very fortunate. God was very, very, very good to me. But I also believe it was also for me to really appreciate being a Nigerian and know that like I don't have any other boat. That's the boat that I have. I am stuck with that country, like it or not. And I have to just be able to do something to help my country. And, going to class, there was a class called Development Ventures. And this class was a fantastic course that exposed us to the world of development and, development work all over the world. And I saw people would come, MIT alums and other people doing wonderful things around labor, sanitation, come and talk to us about what they were doing and motivate us. And I think what struck me was that many of the people that were working in Africa, they were not Africans. Like we have people there are people doing amazing things. Why don't we have more African people stepping up to do that? And I think for me, that was the third thing that made me want to do this myself.
Yeah, that's powerful. I think you touched on why we started this podcast in the first place was we are Afrocentric as well. And yeah, I mean, Africans have what it takes. Domination, we have what it takes to be the change we want to see. So, Bilikiss, you're employing 50 people right now. I heard somewhere that you have a goal to, in the near future, employ 2,000 people.
It's actually 10,000.
10,000. So I'm hearing wrong. 10,000 people. Wow. And so is that, I mean, you guys are going to expand across Nigeria, but also go out of Nigeria and go into other African countries.
Absolutely. So we're looking for partners, NGOs that work in different states of Nigeria, the countries that have strong foundations where they work, to partner with us and bring our model into those communities. We believe that it's something that can help people all over. And we're definitely looking for people that will work with us to do this.
Great. So Domination, that's your opportunity. We're going to have information about Wecyclers at the end of this interview. If you would like to touch base with Bilikiss and her team and bring this change to your country, to your little community in Nigeria, wherever you're at, you have an opportunity to do that right now. So let's get to know the founder of this amazing enterprise a little better. You talked about childhood a little bit, but give us a picture of a typical day in Bilikiss's life at 5 years old. because I want to, what we are as children help us become what we are when we grow up and the things we experience. I want to see if there's something there when you were growing up that caused you, maybe even subconsciously, to be aware of need and be able to really latch into that need and create something around it. So what was childhood like?
That's a powerful question. I have to think, go back, go down memory lane, try to go back
Yeah.
to it. I think for me, I was fortunate. I'm the third of five kids. My parents have five children, and I'm the middle child. So that comes with its own psychological baggage. But I think it was interesting. I remember when I was five, actually, that was actually a very interesting time. I loved reading. I really love reading. I still love reading. And my favorite thing in the world is just to sit and read a really good book. And I think,
Mhm.
you know, early on in life, I learned the importance of reading because I remember I was sitting in class and we were all making noise, young kids making noise. And my teacher said, "Hey, all of you, look at this little girl. She's reading and she came second in class. If you guys read, I think she was desperate trying to get everybody to keep quiet because we're all making noise." But I think that really struck with me that, wow, that's actually the key. There's a correlation between reading and being successful. So I try
Mm.
to read as much as I can. And I think also, more personally, it's also my parents. My mom she's an engineer. So just, I was born knowing that a woman can be empowered. She, worked with Nitel and she was really up there. And, I would see people from all over the world, British Telecoms, the Siemens, they would all come to work in Nigeria and they would work with her and they really respected her. And
Mhm.
that really kind of motivated me to want to be a strong woman because she gave a very good example.
Mm.
And I think my father also was very fantastic because he's a feminist, and I would remember people making fun of me because I like reading, or you know they call me a bookworm, and and he would tell me they're just jealous, don't mind them,
Mm.
and that actually also helped me a lot. So I think I was able to build a very thick skin early on and know what I wanted out of life.
Mm. And you had the empowering at home to go get it.
Exactly.
Yeah, we've heard that a lot from some African entrepreneurs we've talked to. Home life, an empowering household, family, even if they didn't believe in entrepreneurial mission, were kind of behind them and pushed them and those early childhood things. That's amazing. Talking about reading and all those. What was one book you read back then that you can remember right now that you say this was the one thing that I loved and you'd recommend to us?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay, it
I don't
was too
remember.
long ago.
I read so many. I
Yeah.
read so many books that it's like I cannot tell you because there are just too many of them. But I love a lot of fiction. I love fiction. Fiction
Hmm.
is huge for me. But I mean, I have to think about it a little bit
Okay.
to
Maybe at the end of the podcast you have something for
have
us.
something. But
Yeah.
to go a little bit further about what you said about home life and parental support, it's very important. Even when I was older, I remember sometimes when I was going down, maybe I was sliding down the wrong way.
Hmm.
My parents would come and like physically drag me to go. And, I remember there was a time they actually followed me because I applied for a program and I
Hmm.
wasn't following up. They actually, and I was in the same city that was at Vanderbilt. And my parents, they came for vacation. They actually followed me to Vanderbilt. So let's go there now. First of all, call the professor that's in charge. Okay, he's in the office. Let's go there now and see what's
Wow.
going on. And we actually physically went together that same day to Vanderbilt, and I got in. So those are one of many such instances of my parents stepping in and holding me by the hand and dragging me, you know. So
Just accountability to the next level and not
exactly,
letting you slide down to what you are not meant to be. They believed in you and they pushed you to become everything that you were meant to be. That's just empowering stuff.
exactly,
That's amazing.
exactly.
So are you like most other entrepreneurs who started businesses when they were kids?
Ha! I didn't have any business. I did not.
You
Did
didn't
I?
sell candy at school or anything like that?
No, I did not. I actually thought I was going to be a lawyer. I always thought I was going to be a lawyer because I talk a lot. I used to talk so much and argue, and
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
I
you could say that's sales, right?
sales. I think for me, one of the two things that I have helped, no, three things that have helped me as an
Mhm.
entrepreneur is somebody actually came to visit Recyclers a couple of months ago, and he was like, "Oh, you did all this?" He said, "You must be a very stubborn lady." And then I was thinking, I said, first of all, I thought, is that sexist? And then I said, okay, actually, that's not sexist. I think
Right.
he's actually right. I'm
Mm,
actually very stubborn. When I want to do something, I will continue until I do it. I don't give up.
mm,
That's number one. And I think the second thing that has helped is just, you said sales, having good PR with people, just be friendly with everyone,
right.
no matter who it is, the cleaner, the driver. You never know where your next, you know, lead is
Mm,
going to come from,
mm.
you know. And I think the third thing is just having, dedication to do a good job in everything you do. And I learned that at MIT actually, because they put you through hell.
Quite literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, excellence. I mean, so as a stubborn lady, you're building this business in Nigeria, in Africa, in a climate that does not understand what you're telling them is important. So you have to go through a lot of stuff. What are some of the earlier challenges that we cyclists had that some of Diamond Nation might have when they're starting their businesses? And how did your stubbornness cause you to overcome them?
Yeah, I think one of the problems we have as African entrepreneurs is that we expect early recognition for what we do.
That's
You do something and you've done it for like a month, and you think, oh, I should be all over the newspapers.
mm-hmm.
It's not like that. We need to spend a little bit more time, working through things, and and I think we cyclize. It sounds really glamorous now, but we spend a lot of time, pushing and doing the things that are not so glamorous and not
Mm,
so fun. And I think I've learned that we have to continue to do that even when people recognize us. We have to continue to build on what we've been doing in
mm-hmm.
order to, in order to have something that would last, you know. And I think we need to do that a little bit more.
Mm.
I'm learning to do that actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Learning to have more grit and keep going. You seem to be someone who already has that down.
no, but it's hard. Keep doing it. Have a great. I'm telling you, this week I have gotten like two rejections, and there's something I applied for, and I really thought I was going to get it, and I was rejected.
Oh.
It was bad, and you just have to continue.
Mm-hmm. Mm. So, I mean, even at your level of success, Diamond Nation, you're hearing it from the horse's mouth. At her, Billikiss's We Cyclist level of success being featured in with CNN and all these places, there's still rejection, and as an entrepreneur you just gotta grind, through it. That's what makes you successful. So did you have any challenges with the government? I don't think you would, but you never know. We're talking Africa here.
Yeah, I mean the government. I think I was very fortunate because I think African governments get a bad rap.
Mm-hmm.
You know, many of the issues that happen are not um, from it's like what they say, when you do something, when you do a good job, nobody really celebrates you.
Yeah.
But the moment you mess up, the moment one person messes up, then it affects everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's
So true.
that's the story for many African you know parastatals, governments, agencies, is that they all do a very fantastic job every single day. But the moment when one person in one agency messes up, then everybody else gets a bad name.
Mm.
I think
It's interesting you say that. In Ghana, for example, there's a problem going on with electricity. They're having to ration electricity, and all I see on the web, and if you're a part of Domination, you're in Ghana, I'm talking to you right now. All I see on the web are people blaming the government for the electricity problem, blaming the president and all this stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, I mean, this is a bigger infrastructure issue that is very, I mean, the government could probably do something about it, but people, you can rise up. You could do something about it. You really can. It's gonna be hard, but you could do something about it.
Absolutely. We need to look at governance as, we have a civic responsibility as citizens to step up, because the government is there to help us, but as citizens we need to support them and work with them to do their jobs. And but nothing stopping us from. And another thing, I think that we have a problem. There's we've always said we have brain drain.
Mm-hmm.
But many of us, and I'm also guilty of it, we need to go and work in the government, actually.
That's
And
interesting. Yeah.
we need to go into the government and help and support instead of criticizing them, abusing them. Let's go and support them,
Mm.
advise them, be an advisor to somebody, to your governor, or to your parliamentarian. Let's try and support them.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a novel idea. I think we could try and have a Diamond Nation revolution. Why not, members of Diamond Nation, African continent, why not try to help your government? Do something this month to assist them in a work they're trying to do, they need to do. Yes, there's corruption, but not everybody is corrupt. So why not take that extra step? And I believe Bilikiss is a great example. Pollution has been a problem for our continent for years, ages. And there are several people, yes, in other countries doing other things, but she tackled that problem and took it head first. And I believe that's a huge show of support, being truly, truly a citizen. That's incredible. So, getting back to Wecyclers and your journey, when we talk to African founders and people wanting to get into the space of building startups in Africa, one glaring problem comes up: funding. They always talk about funding. How did you fund Wecyclers?
With a lot of, pennies and nickels.
Just whatever you found under the couch, you just pulled together.
Put it together, really, literally. It's a daily thing that, and I think it helps to have that level of control, fiscal control, budgeting. We've been very, very fortunate to win several awards. We won the Cartier Award. We won MIT Ideas Global Challenge, Echoing Green Fellowship, and all this came with money.
Mm.
So we actually invested that money into the company. We've also gotten support from our partners like DHL, Nigeria, Oracle, and they've also supported us financially or in kind. And that's really how we've been able to do what we've been doing.
So you basically bootstrapped. I mean, you hacked the financing together, whichever way you could. You applied for grants and, awards and things, because you're doing incredible work. It's recognized, and that's how you're funding this. Do you have a sugar daddy for the company? Do you have a venture capitalist, an angel investor somewhere?
We're working on that. We're actually raising a $2 million round now.
Boom.
Yeah, boom. We're trying to raise $2 million. We've started getting people to invest, and we'll take anything. As the least we take is $10,000.
Right.
Up to $2 million. And we're trying to scale up. We're actually not trying to. We are scaling up, the company, and hopefully you'll see us in Ghana soon.
Well, I want you in Ghana. Please get there soon, very soon. Yeah. Wow, that's incredible. And I think the lesson here for us, for myself, and I believe for Diamond Nation, is you started something you believed in, and you didn't wait for approval from someone with money. You found a way to get it done. And then now that you are at the point of growing exponentially, the people with money will come and bring the money and say, hey, we want to get behind this vehicle. It's a rocket ship. It's creating change, creating jobs, solving a major problem for the continent. And there you have it. That is the model that we're hearing time and time and time again for Africa is Diamond Nation. Don't wait for someone in the very early days, like Bilikiss just told us. You're not going to get that recognition early on, but if you grind through it, it's coming. You just gotta understand that it's coming. Powerful.
It will come. It will come. I'm telling you. Somebody told me something. Her name is Mrs. Saka. been in the recycling industry for 26 years.
Wow.
She's one of my mentors. I look up to her. And she said, look, the money, don't chase the money, don't chase the fame. It will come. It will chase you.
Mm.
Just do what you have to do. Put your head down, work hard, and it will come.
Mm. So good. So good. We could pause there for a moment of just reflection. That's profound because you live in a place where a lot of people are chasing the money and it's easy to do that. Talking about money though, I'm going to ask the big question we like to ask our entrepreneurs on Africa's Diamonds. What has all the struggle amounted to? What has all the work put in, all the pennies pinching and all the hard work amounted to? What are some of the success points, the revenues? You've told us your employee numbers and your goals. What could you tell us about revenue or any metric you could show us to say, hey, the hard work pays off?
I think the most important metric I have is just the fact that we've been able to build a model that works.
Mm.
This is something that people have not done before. It's not happened before. And we've been able to create something that is a low-cost infrastructure for waste collection in low-income areas. That's number one. Second thing is we've been able to create about 50 jobs. We've registered about 7,000 households to our service.
Wow.
Yeah, we've from the bootstrapping that we've done, we've been able to build a viable business that is close to profitability. And obviously, like I said, we're raising funding to expand and do more. So, I think our numbers speak for themselves.
Right.
And it just shows the kind of amazing team that we have of people that are dedicated. They're not driven by money. They're not motivated by money, but they really actually want to make a change in their communities, in, where they're from. And I really hope more people can step up and do that, in their countries.
That's incredible. 7,000 households.
Yes. And
Wow.
counting.
And counting. I mean,
Yes.
50 employees, people who didn't have jobs before. That's incredible. Doing great work. What is next? What is next for two questions in one? What is next for Wecyclers and what is next for Bilikiss?
So I think for Wecyclers, we're going to continue grinding and, close on this round that we're raising and expand, to other cities, other states in Nigeria and also in Africa. And, while we're doing that, we're going to be building a lot of awareness around waste management, building a sector in waste, letting people understand and realize all the opportunities that you can have in the waste sector, make it glamorous, make it as sexy as oil in Nigeria or as finance or telecom. That I think for us, that's the next thing. And for me, I'll continue. I think, every day working at Wecyclers has been, rewarding. It's made me a better person, and I'll just continue doing what I'm doing, and hopefully, we'll see what happens next.
I think the sky's the limit for both Bilikiss and Wecyclers. You guys are on a trajectory. You're a rocket ship. If I could work for you, I would. I so would. It's incredible stuff. So honored that you're doing what you're doing and talking to us about it. And we have an audience, Bilikiss, that love to develop themselves. Diamond Nation, we're focused on improving ourselves and where we're at, getting to the next level. That's why we subscribe to this podcast. That's why they listen. So to close our time together, our conversation, if you could tell us 3 resources that you think, whether they are videos, whether they're movies, whether they're books you've read, whatever they are, that you think would help us up our game, help us get closer to creating change, not only on our continent, but for the world, what would those 3 resources be?
I think the first one, I think there's this book, Richard Branson's book. I know it sounds weird. I read his book, I think a couple of months ago, and it's really amazing. So I think reading that book will be amazing, will be helpful to just learn how to be organized, how to be a good, leader. I also would like, I watch a lot of TED Talks. When I have time, I watch and, try to learn from people. And then I love reading articles. I really do. Research articles, on, psychology, business, try to see what the latest research is. But I would say business books. There's another book I was reading actually. It's about the singularity concept.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's called Big.
Mm.
Yeah, it's called Big. And, that's actually a really good book.
Okay. I'm writing this down, Domination. I hope you are too. And we're going to have these resources available in the show notes for you. Wow. Time flies, and we could keep going for hours talking about what you're doing, Bilikiss, and what Wecyclers means for our continent. We're going to stop here so that people can go look it up, go search it out. If you are in a country, if you're wherever you are in Africa, you have an opportunity to jump on this rocket ship, be a part of the change. It's akin to what Uber is doing for the United States and the world. Wecyclers, I really believe that statement is changing the game for waste management in places that you couldn't get to before, places that it wasn't accessible. That this model that Bilikiss and her team have built is just rock solid to jump on this rocket ship. Bilikiss, thank you for your time. Really, we're really honored that you spent time with us and talk to us about your journey, where you're going. We're rooting for you. We're believing you're gonna blow by your goal of 2 million raised, and we'll get you back on here in a couple of years, maybe even a few months, when you're up there in the stratosphere with the Richard Bransons of the world. We'll talk to you again and see where Wecyclers and Bilikiss are.
I'll be happy to. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. So Domination, that's what we have for you today. Again, go on to africanpodcast.com to listen to this episode, download it, listen to other episodes we're doing, read some great blog posts like Bilikiss was referring to. We're gonna have all the resources she talked about on there. Or you could check us out on YouTube, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, all of those African podcasts. That you look us up, we'll be there. Go out and create the change you want to see and stay inspired. Have a great time.